Welcome back, everybody, to Conversation with Carroll. I'm with a great guest, somebody that was at Maryland when I was just incoming, and he was the guy that really set the standard for what you need to do to be a great player in the NFL, as well as being a great player in college, as also a great person. I'm with former first-round pick, former Defensive Rookie of the Year, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, Shawne Merriman. Shawne, my brother, OG, appreciate you being on here, man, and gracing us with your presence, bro.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's been a while. I've been waiting to come on here and just seeing what y'all doing, everything from a distance, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Definitely, man. Likewise, and just want to get into it, man. I just see what you've been doing, what you've been creating, and it's great because I'm in that same realm as far as like having an idea and just putting it on paper, and then you got to show people. You really got to prove what you're doing. Similar like playing football, and I want to get into Lights Out MMA Extreme Fight, man. It's just something that when I watched it a couple weeks ago, I was interested just with the whole production, how you built it, and what you're really doing. Could you just dive into it more and explain just how your love of it came to fruition and how you're able to just build it how you have it now?
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy. Growing up in PG and in DC around the time that I grew up, like you had to learn how to fight, right? Like you just, you light skinned, good looking kid, you're an athlete. And so, the neighborhoods I grew up with, you gotta defend yourself because you always gonna be tried. But I had professional boxers. My uncle was a professional boxer. I had boxers around me, championship boxers that would come to my neighborhood all the time. So I naturally grew up around fighters. Um, and I got drafted by the Chargers in 2005. And what happened is I was terrible with my hands, right? Use my hands and be as outside linebacker. That's key, that's like number one, being able to do that. But I was bad, and so a friend of mine at Fox Sports, Jay Glazer, said, "Yo, I knew you grew up boxing because I was still in there boxing, doing my thing, whatever. But I think MMA would help, your football and being a better pass rusher." So I was like, "Cool." So that initially got me into MMA. I started training with Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, all these fighters, and then in the flip, they would come to my football games. I would give them tickets. So I was like, "Dude, I'll give you whatever tickets y'all want. Y'all come on the field, do whatever." But during the offseason, I'm trying to get some work. So that's how I became, just involved with the sport from the start. And then fast forward, I started doing it every all season. I retired in 2013, and I got right into TV, NFL Network, Fox Sports, ESPN, and back to Fox Sports. So what happened was it was that love and passion from the sport of MMA, and then also understanding how TV works, because I was at the time I was helping write certain shows for these networks and segments and different stuff. So I said, okay, cool. I would find out, how production works, what cameras was what, on and out of breaks, the viewership numbers. Like I was into it, bro. Like everything that I'm like a 12-year-old kid who was just sitting around asking all these questions. And they would always ask, say, dude, like, why are you, this is like in 2000, like 14, 15, like, why are you asking so many questions? And I'm like, I'm just getting this information because I wanted it. And so that's how the two kind of parallel into each other, right? Having love of the sport MMA in general, and then understanding TV. And I launched Lights Out Xtreme Fighting in 2018, beginning of 2019. And right now we're on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. We just finished up our ninth fight with Fubo. And I just got word back literally about couple hours ago that we were top 10 after our fight in January. We just broke into the top 5 most watched, and this is the same day that the Lakers were playing, UFC was on, Canelo was fighting, Kentucky Derby had just went off, and so everybody told me I was crazy for having that time, so I said it's going to work, and it did. So it's just like, with us, man, we're natural workers with discipline. Athletes, we're the most disciplined people walking on this earth. And most people can't even understand the discipline for the long period of time since we're 10, 11, 12 years old of being stuck to a schedule and sticking to it. And it kind of everything just translated for me, pretty well.
That's dope, man. I congratulations on that, because that's big to be able to be in that space and just create it the way you've done it. It's I mean, shoot, props to you, man. Honestly, because it's something more and more people got to hear. Now, as far as creating it, what were some of the hurdles that you had to go through initially to really get this to where it is right now, where people are finally seeing the end product of MMA, the Lights Out MMA league?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is I was, I'm fortunate to have the platform because we played in the biggest stage there is in this country, which is in the NFL. And so I have that platform, that following, where I can go and promote freely on any network, station, podcast, anywhere I need to be. So that always helps when you're growing a brand because we don't spend any money in marketing. Yeah. I think the other flip side of that is, we have like this stigma as like former athletes, man, that people can't fathom that, I'm doing what I'm doing on my own. There's no investment. There's no money behind me. We're beating, promotions and leagues that raise 50, 100 plus $1 million. We're smashing them. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's like the gift and the curse of, okay, I can get just about any meeting I need to. I can get in front of anybody I need to. But there's also a stigma that this guy, ain't no way in hell he's doing this by himself because he's a former athlete, or he just, couldn't figure it out, because most people can't fathom running a production, promotion, a league of this magnitude by myself. Yeah. Right. And, so like I said, that's probably one of the hurdles. And two, there's a lot of competition out there. And we look at ourselves as a platform for UFC or something like that. We know that these fighters want to get an opportunity to go and fight on that level. So we understand there's other promotions and competition out there. But Marty Schottenheimer told me one thing a long time ago that always stuck with me. It's like, don't matter what they do, it's just perfecting what we do and be great at what we do, and we'll be fine. And that's kind of always been my mentality. Mm-hmm. We know it's other great promotions and other things going on out there, and we're just not any concern with that. We're just trying to be great and the best of what we're doing over at Lights Out.
Bet. I like that. Now, kind of want to go back into your playing days because, man, I remember my first year. This was your first year in the league. This was my first year in Maryland, and they would put on Chargers games, and I remember just, it was ridiculous the way you just came in and just started doing the crazy stuff, and just 3 sacks a game, like you sacking Peyton Manning, and people was like, hold up, like this a rookie doing all this stuff? And, for a stretch of 3 years, you the sack king, like you just a leader in what you was doing. And then, unfortunately, you had the injuries, those next 3 years. Can you kind of explain how that was as far as the adversity and what you went through as a mentality? Because I didn't really talk to you during that stretch, but I could just tell, like, people just jabbing at you, people talking bad about you because you're trying to overcome it. You're trying to get second opinions. They're trying to rush you back. Just kind of talk about that mentality of overcoming and being able to, one, get back out on the field, but then also, two, being able to transition like you've done and continue to just go and climb higher.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is, so when I was at Maryland, I played this Leo position, was like a stand-up outside linebacker. There was over a 6 technique in a 2-point stance. Yeah, I remember right. Like, and I was telling everybody, I said, you got to be a whole man to do that. That's like putting your hand in the dirt, but you ask somebody to rush from a 2-point stance in the 6 technique, right? It's like it's unheard of, even to do that. So what happened was, when I got to the league, the NFL is mainly about playmakers, right? They want you to go out and make plays. And I was fortunate to walk in the locker room with, Marty Schottenheimer, my coach, head coach, Wade Phillips as a D coordinator. We had Greg Manunsky, who's our linebacker coach, and assistant coach is John Pagano. Like, that was the staff. Okay, yeah. And so when I got in, they looked at me, they saw me like running around and doing this, and said, man, look, we need you to line up and go get the quarterback. And I said, hold on, there's no 6-point, putting my hand in the dirt, taking on them double teams, like nothing. You just want me to. I said, that's it. That's what y'all want me to do. This is my real question. And I had a problem, learning the playbook coming in. And so they all, after they seen me the first couple of days of practice, they knew I could make plays. They brought me into the room, and they, the coaches, Wade Phillips, Marty, all of them, they said, look, we need you to go out and just turn our, help our defense and turn this thing around. We want you to see ball, go ball, is what they told me. Uh-huh. And so I didn't really have a playbook for like the first quarter of the season, probably not to the first half of the season. They said, look, we just want you to line up in this 7, tight, wide, 9, whatever it is, and we want you to go make plays. Oh, snap. I said, okay, that's way different than I had to do at Maryland. And so that's, kind of why I jumped out the way I did because it became easier that I was able to make plays.
Nice, man. Yeah, that makes more sense now because that leader position, we had it in Maryland after you left, and needless to say, ain't nobody really did what you do. If anything, it was so confusing for guys. You couldn't have a guy rush and drop. They didn't understand both concepts. So, yeah, you revolutionized that, and then we ended up just taking it out because we said we.
You know why they took it off? You know why they took it off? Because they seen me after my first year. Right.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
You know, I remember talking to Al Seamerson, the linebacker coach, and all the coaches there. They seen what I can do my rookie year, and they scrapped it. You know, I think you guys had like Trey Covington there around the same time as some of the other guys. And I said, if they allowed me to do this in college, I would have broke every record there was in NCAA history because I was like that I can do. I can get after the quarterback. It's just that you guys asked me to take on, a tight end that's 260 plus pounds and a 2-point stance in a six tech. And so I got to the league, man. I said, they basically took the leash off me and said, hey, we want you to go out and make plays. And that's kind of what I did.
There you go. Yeah, because we didn't get no production after you left. Like it was non-existent, bro. Like we was covering for like 8 or 9 seconds, dog. So it was non-existent.
It was Big East too, right?
No, it was ACC.
No, he played in the ACC?
Yeah, he was all ACC, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was all ACC.
ACC. So you Miami, Calvin Johnson. You playing.
You ain't
they had you in the 6 technique while you was standing up playing a triple option? Yeah, come on, bro.
Bro, it was, I'm telling you, man, it was unbelievable. I tell people nowadays, I said, dude, you got to be strong as an ox.
Yep.
Like, I will go one-on-one pass rush against our left tackle. We had Stephon Howard who was there, who was a dog, who's a beast.
Yeah.
I would go with him one-on-one, but I would have to go run with Vernon Davis in one-on-one out of a 6 technique and run with Vernon. I said, listen, by the time I got to the league, this was cake. This wasn't nothing, Now I can just go play.
That's facts.
Man.
Vernon was tight end running 4.3.
Bro, so I took a visit with Friesian. So you played with Friesian?
Yeah. I was a Friesian all my year.
I just remember watching. I'm like, Maryland was the biggest team I've seen in my life. He was one of them.
When the first time I met him, it was actually I came for the summertime and I went to the academic center and Tosh was up in there, Natasha, and she's like, "Yeah, Shawne's about to come up in here." And at first, I didn't really know. Like I wasn't on the defense side, I was on the offensive side. I remember he was coming through the academic center. He had to open both doors just to get through.
I'm
like,
I can imagine.
I'm like, there ain't no way. Like, how am
you
I
gotta play with these, bro?
I'm like, nah. If I get hit, bro, like, ain't no way. But I will say this: the one thing that I remember when I first met you was that same day when I was in the academic center. You ran the stadium stairs. Like you ran all the stairs, like even the top row. And when I was in there just with her, she's like, "Yeah, this is what you got to do if you want to be a first round pick. Like if you want to go to the league, you got to do this stuff." And she mentioned to me, she's like, "Yeah, he weighs 270 right now." I'm like, he's weighing 270 running, like not just kind of jogging, like he's sprinting, going back down, sprinting, like all of them. And I said, all right, yeah, this the guy. And as a matter of fact, I was walking back to, because I was living behind Frat Row. This is how intimidated I was, because I've seen him the first time. He pulls up like he's leaving. He's like, "Yo, you want to ride, young buck?" I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm good. I'm good." Yeah, it is. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, because I ain't know." But no, it's just that mentality that you had. It really stuck with me. It was the first impression that you and Vernon, like both of you guys, just kind of just being those guys. Just like, "Yeah, if you need anything, just holler at me." That was one of the things that stuck with me and kept me motivated the entire time, which was amazing, man. Honestly, at Maryland, you guys made Maryland. Like you guys, to this day, I went there 2 weeks ago just chilling, and your highlights are still going up there. Like the standard is you guys. So definitely, man, like the stuff you've done, it's still the standard. So which is great. Kind of want to get in now to something that's more interesting, and Najee kind of ask you more questions about it. It's Lights Out Agency, and I've had a couple players like talk to me about it and mention it as far as like what you're doing and how you're doing it. I think it's interesting because this realm in this space is not something that a lot of people know about as far as insurance and how you can protect your assets. And a lot of this show, what we're talking about is how you can protect your assets from either being a player or even just regular life. How can you do that? So just kind of tell us a little bit more about Lights Out Agency and your purpose behind it.
Yeah, man, I actually got into the insurance business by default, during the pandemic. So I was living in LA and everything shut down. right? I couldn't go in studio because I was at Fox Sports at the time. The MMA league was shut down, and one of my best friends is like, "Yo, when you get a moment, take a look at this insurance thing." And at first, because I don't know of the insurance industry, a lot of people are super successful, but so I thought, right? Because all you know is about insurance for me, and where we came from is like seeing a State Farm commercial, right, or the Aflac commercial. It's like, man, okay, it's not you don't understand the business, but if you look at the wealth in our country and the businesses and industries that surpassed the Great Depressions, all the pandemics we've had in the last 70 years, 75 years, 100 years, insurance has been around. And so I say that, you know what? For one, I've always been big on like giving back. I had the co-drive in Maryland that's doing, I've always been big in giving back. So I was like, man, how can I get into this industry? Because I have a pretty decent outreach already. Not only build an agency, but we're helping families, right? Because a lot of people, when we grew up at, man, we didn't talk about life insurance. It was like one of those things we just didn't talk about because it felt like you were selling death, right? Like, hey, but what we didn't understand is it's, ways to protect your assets, ways to, taxes and this, you name it. But more importantly, man, I was like, I'm making money in the industry when I'm helping people. I said, that's a game changer for me.
Exactly.
So I ended up with this company called Family First Life. I built the agency under them. I have 238 agents throughout the country that in my agency that I work with. We're the fastest growing and one of the fastest growing in the company.
Congratulations.
And, because I have a platform and I have these things, I decided to bring my sisters in the company and everybody I knew. And in fact, back when I was just handing people out money, my, family and friends, just, hey, you need a couple grand here, just pay this rent. I wish I knew about this a long time ago because, now I'm helping everybody else make money through the company and, they're helping families, they protect it and doing things like that. So it's one of those things we just didn't talk about, man. We didn't have the knowledge. And some of these financial institutes and advisors that we work with, they're never going to, tell us how to build this long-term wealth and how to build something that's going to be around for 20 plus years. If they're not getting a percentage or a cut or a point off of your portfolio. And that's unfortunate, but, I figured it out pretty early that you have to create these things in order to sustain, long-term growth and wealth.
Damn, that's dope. That's real dope, man. That's a game changer because just from what we've been doing, and I know I mentioned it a little bit to you about Quad A, like that's a space that, like you said, guys think of just death. Like, oh, I die, then all of a sudden my assets go to my kids. And it's in a way now where it's protecting it, but you can also leverage to help yourself as well, too, which I don't think a lot of people do know and understand about, which is, like I said, it's game changing. I've heard from other guys just from being affiliated with what you're doing. They're excited about it because they know it now. The information that you're giving them is game changing, basically.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like one of my questions is like I went to West Virginia, bro. So like I've heard you've been like the shredder. So I'm like, all right. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we've been going at it like I done heard about you, man. The fact that you brought up Ernie Davis, I'm like, damn, you right. Because I played against him in 2016 and you was going against him in college. I'm like, man, that's some monsters, bro. Yeah. And I'm just like kind of going into the business side of what Nolan was just bringing up is like, once you figured out how you could amass, like, what you've done through, like, your God-given talents and, like, ability, how did you go about just, like, making the proper decisions of, like, keeping the right people around you and then sustaining, like, your business? And, like, when you figure something out and you had that aha moment, that's, like, it's crazy for everybody.
Yeah,
like, it's like getting your first check, but, like, how do you go about, like, making the, like, you wake up the next day and, like, man, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. I got to do it again, like, I feel like that's, like, a big thing as, like, our younger generation, man, we miss because cats want everything right now. And, you got to keep building and working through that, to get to a goal.
Yeah, for me, it was almost like an addition by subtraction, right? And so you got to go through it. And everybody wants you to have these answers. When you get all this money, you get this notoriety, you get all this stuff, whatever. You kind of, everything happens so fast. You don't look at 10-year plan or 20-year plan. You just don't. And it's hard to even look at it that way while you have this opportunity and all this stuff in front of you right now. I think for me, so for example, I bought the name and trademarks for Lights Out in 2000, between 2005 and 2006. And so I had this nickname since I was in high school, right? And for me, I wanted to own my name. I wanted to have the rights to my name, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just knew I wanted to own it because it was. I knew it was going to be something. I just never knew what it was going to be. So I ended up in 2006. I bought Lights Out from a company called PJ Sal, which was a huge pajama company in Irvine. I think I bought it for like $150,000 when I was just sitting on it because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and that's how I got into the apparel space. Right, branding, selling T-shirts, hats, hoodies, and things like that. And so for me, I was never afraid of like asking questions. That was always my number one thing, man. I'm like, when you got access, like we got access to certain individuals, the CEOs or brilliant people. Hey, man, can I get an hour with you, a half hour, whatever you got to spare? This is what I want to do. You're in this field, you're in this industry, and just hit on questions. And if they're giving that answer to you for free, like you're saving yourself thousands and thousands in consultant fees because that's what most people charge. But with us, we have, we got an access that people would just help us because we played in the NFL. They know who we are. We might be their favorite player. We might have played on their favorite team, and so you have to have the ability to be able to use that. So throughout the course of learning everything, I'm a doer, right? So I just give me the information. I'm gonna go do the shit. That was just my answer to everything. Even when launching the league, I got around some people that ran organizations before. That was great at production, great at doing a lot of stuff. And I said, I'm just going to do it and I'll ask questions and figure it out along the way. So that was kind of how I sped up the learning curve in every single thing that I did. Right? I'll call Puff when entertainment stuff. I'll call some of the biggest business entrepreneurs in the world that I had access to and say, I don't care where you at. I'll fly across the country. Give me whatever time you have if you got the time to do it. And I sit down with him. Yeah. And I still do it. That's I don't have, dude, I don't have, dude, I'm running a kind of a bigger organization. We're on live TV. Live TV is the scariest shit to be on because there's all kind of stuff that can happen. And so I look back on it now when I'm doing, and like, for example, we play in the league and we get there on Sunday, you got all these, or Sunday night, whatever, you got these big cameras and the smokes and the things flying across the, I look on it now and said, man, this is a big operation. This is a big deal, right? Me knowing the industry now. But even then I was asking questions, man. I was just always been one of the guys that was asking a lot of questions and wasn't afraid of somebody saying no, or they, what's the worst going to happen? They just give me the information and they don't. But whatever information I got, I was always willing to get up and just go put in the work regardless. Just get up. I think being consistent is better than being great. Yeah. Right. If you're consistent all the way through, you're bound to be successful at some point because you're just going to keep chopping at the block over and over again. And you do it long enough, sometime it take months, sometime it take years. I mean, I bought Lights Out, the trademark and the name back in 2006, when I launched in 2019. Right. Dang. So, just thinking of consistency you have to have for that long period of time. And I think that sometimes that we miss that as a culture. We miss that as whatever because people like I had a great week. I'm gonna go out and get lit, right? I'm gonna go to the bar, I'm gonna go to the club, whatever. I had a great week, and I said, dude, this shit take several months, several years, sometime to get to that platform. So yes, celebrate your small victories always, but don't forget that you're not even nowhere close to where you need to be. So it's just about keeping that same momentum and staying consistent throughout the process.
Definitely. It's shoot, man. And on that note, because that's right, because people need to hear that the process takes a while and you can't be great overnight. Everybody says overnight success takes about 10 to 12 years before you can really call yourself that. So yeah, everything that you're doing, man, definitely is motivation for a lot of people out there, especially former athletes that are trying to be in that space that you're doing, trying to do great things. They just don't know how to do it. So it's great that you're that leading example and you've put yourself out there to be that guy and been courageous. So definitely appreciate you coming on and giving us words of wisdom and giving us tidbits, man, because shoot, every time I talk to a guest, I always take something that's going to help me out. And definitely what you've been saying and from example, like I said, from '05 to even now, just the way you've always been an example every single year, man. It's great to know that I was able to at least share a locker room partly with you and just see how you've been performing and the stuff you've done transitioning off the field too. So definitely appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, good looking out, man. And like I said,
No, same here, man. Thanks for having me. And then, as this thing roll on, I'd love to come back on and kind of just open the doors too to some of you guys' guests or questions y'all might have. And it's a lot of, when you talk about live TV, you talk about sponsorships and commercial space and entertainment, production. There's so many different tentacles to this game, man. So anytime you guys have somebody on, the more questions, I'm always open to just to lend information because I would not be here in this situation where I'm at right now if somebody didn't give me the information. So I always look to pass something on that somebody else may be doing because without that, man, it's no really moving forward.
That's facts. The same thing on this end. We got, like I was telling you before, we got some stuff that we just want to bring to the table to help you out, just to broaden everything that you're doing, man. Because this thing works both ways. Like you help us, we trying to help you too. Because shoot, at the end of the day, we all share the locker room in some way, shape, or form, and we know how it is to be a team. So shoot, we here too, man.
Got to provide value, man. I just got one last question.
Thanks, fellas.
If there was one thing that you could tell, like, younger guys that like what you're doing, from the insurance perspective, because I think that, like, information is just so vast nowadays and it's over flooded. But like you said it, man, like, it's very, very true that athletes are one of the very few professions that we do it for 10, 15, 20 years. Even cats that do it for 4 or 5 years, they've done something that most people just nowadays, because of the landscape or whatever. Is there like a piece of advice you would give a cat that's coming into wealth or coming into this world where they're going to get notoriety, money, and it could easily be gone from them, in a slip of a hat. But at the same time, like, I know you have ways to kind of, I guess questions is like a great thing. If you're asking questions, you're going to figure stuff out. But is there like a quick boilerplate or something that you would say to younger guys?
Yeah, I think that the number one thing, to be honest, is first of all, take your time. You don't have to do everything overnight. Before you put your step forward to anything, get as much information as you possibly can before you do it. And the last thing is your surroundings of who you're around, right? We got, like I said before, we got a lot of access, and whether that's social access, whether that's capital access, people open up the doors for us. So we already got a step ahead of most people walking this planet because of what we've done in our background. And now you have to just go through with the right game plan and information, and you can really, really hit a home run, man. And I try to, you got some couple swings at the bats and stuff. You got to do it to get to the next step. But it's at a certain point in time that, because of this access that we have, we can take them big swings and we can get it far ahead. You just have to have, and it's another thing too, man. A lot of guys kind of struggle finding their way. And I had plenty of shit lined up when I got done, TV and apparel, and I had all this stuff ready to go. And there'd be some days I get all set, man, like, yo, is this it for real? For me, like, this is it, because we didn't have that locker room anymore. They wouldn't have that, just that regiment that we always carried for how many years we played. But the second you find that passion that you have after any big hit or any big play or running out in that tunnel, it's over. Yeah, it's over, because we're already, like I said before, we're the most dedicated people walking and disciplined people walking this earth. And then once we get something that gives us that little bit of passion that we have, whatever we did on that field, or other athletes' court, whatever their profession was, we are extremely dangerous out here, because most people fail starting out anything is because they have no discipline and dedication. Yeah. So no matter what, we can fail, and then we coming back the next day like, hey, I'm gonna get it right this time. And we don't hang our hat on things, because we've all dealt with injury. We all dealt with being cut, traded, released, having to stomach all of that and then go back out and find another way. And any athlete that's trying to make that transition, you find that passion that they just give you that, I want to get up in the morning and do something. The rest is history, because we got everything else already. Yeah. Right. We already have everything else that everybody else is lax when they start off. A lot of people get disciplined and dedicated when they start to get older. We got it in our system. We got it in our spirit. We wake up every single morning. Yeah. So then you start to find a passion with that information that you find out in your career and what you're doing. We are dangerous out here, man. And that's why, the growth of me, when I'm building, is I've had failures, but it was nothing for me to bounce back, dust myself off, and get right back to it, because we're so accustomed to doing just that. So that's probably one of the biggest things I would say to guys coming in, is just find that passion, that love that made you feel however you felt, that pick, that catch, that tackle coming out the end zone, whatever it is, you find something to make you feel like that just a little bit, you're going to win.
That's facts. I appreciate you, Shawne. Everybody, Shawne Merriman. Once again, you guys can go on this page. He's got a bunch of pages. He's got 3 pages. Lights Out MMA. He's got Lights Out Insurance, and he's got Shawne Merriman on his Instagram. So you guys
Sign
go on
him
all
up.
that. And go on
Sign him
Fubo.
up.
If you're going to do it, sign him up. If you're going to be on it, guys, go on Fubo and download that so he has his next upcoming fight. You guys can see that and tune in because there's some great stuff he has going on. Shawne, I appreciate you, man. Definitely.
No doubt,
Thank
bro.
you.
You got it, fellas, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.